Take me back to a place where I felt at home. Take me back to a day when we weren't alone. Take me back to...
Jungkook sighed in frustration as his friend, who happened to be a doctor, suddenly brought a girl to his house. To make matters worse, the girl was suffering from amnesia, unable to recall anything, and unfortunately, she was also quite stubborn. The girl claimed to be certain that the man in the photos on her phone was her boyfriend, which happened to be Jungkook. It was perplexing how she had numerous photos of Jungkook on her phone. In fact, Jungkook almost considered her a stalker. Yoonwoo. I can't accommodate her. She doesn't remember anyone and doesn't have anyone. Yoonwoo explained with a sigh at the end of his sentence. She's a victim of an accident that occurred a month ago. The impact on her head was quite severe, leading to amnesia. I've investigated, and she comes from an orphanage. It seems she grew up there and worked there as well. Then why not return her to the orphanage? The orphanage went bankrupt, and all the children have been transferred to another facility. Since the girl is already grown up, no one is willing to take her in. Jungkook frowned slightly, finding it hard to believe Yoonwoo's explanation. It couldn't be that someone's humanity was so cruel. Surely, they would still be willing to accommodate one more person. That can't be. She has amnesia. That's the main issue. They feel it would be troublesome to take care of someone who remembers nothing. Yoonwoo interjected with a convincing expression. Besides, she's your girlfriend. Why wouldn't you take care of her? Could it be that because she has amnesia, you're secretly turning to someone else? He added, investigating with a suspicious look. How long have you known me? I'm not even interested in having a relationship. Who knows? Maybe you're involved with someone behind my back. Yoonwoo's accusation still seemed incredulous. Seriously? Jungkook almost swore while glaring at Yoonwoo. The point is, she sees you as her boyfriend. I hope you can help her until she recovers. It shouldn't take long, maybe a few months. It's not bad. You'll have a companion, and you won't be lonely anymore. Damn you, I'm not lonely. Yoonwoo chuckled before giving Jungkook a brief pat on the shoulder. Take care of her and pay attention. It's a pity. She's been in the hospital for too long without anyone visiting or claiming her as family. You know how lonely life can be. Jungkook fell into a momentary reverie before glancing at the girl sitting quietly on his sofa. The distance between them was significant, but enough for Jungkook to perceive the confusion and sadness in her expression. Well, she might be half unsure about her life too. It's quite challenging to trust someone when you don't even remember or recognize them. Fine, just temporarily. Until she remembers. Yoonwoo emphasized his statement with a small chuckle, met with an irritated kiss off from Jungkook. Well then, I'll take my leave. Congratulations on gaining a new friend. Oh my buddy, I'm so touched that from now on, you won't be lonely. Yoonwoo continued teasing Jungkook with a feigned emotional face. Damn you, get lost. Jungkook shooed Yoonwoo away while giving his hand a solid smack. Oh, by the way, her name is Kim Yin. Her phone and wallet are in that paper bag. It's the only stuff she brought. What about her clothes? Unfortunately, she's been wearing hospital gowns all this time, even now. Do I have to take care of her needs too? Well, you're her boyfriend, remember? Yoonwoo chimed in casually while running away, laughing. You cheeky bastard, I'll settle the score with you someday. Jungkook retorted, deliberately raising his voice as Yoonwoo had already sprinted towards the door. Well, miss, where do we start? Why did you claim to be my girlfriend? He asked abruptly, now seated across from Yin. That was just my assumption, because there are so many photos of you on my phone. If we're not a couple, why would I have so many pictures of you? She answered quite smoothly, expressing her thoughts. Jungkook cleared his throat, slightly uneasy at the mention of couple from Yin. It felt a bit odd, considering he was reluctant to get close to women. Well, more precisely, he was reluctant to give too much hope. It doesn't mean I'm into the same gender. It's just that I've dedicated my life to work. Let's just say it's for the savings of my future life. Maybe you're a stalker? He said hesitantly, causing a surprised expression on Yin's face. Her eyes widened in disbelief. Am I that desperate? Well, I don't know. It's just a guess. Or maybe I'm your fan. That sounds a bit better, right? Not really. I'm not a famous person, and we've never met anywhere. So how could you be my fan? I don't know. Yin spoke softly, as if on the verge of tears. She seemed lost, stranded in a completely unfamiliar world. However, in a more pitiful version, she couldn't even remember herself. Alright, until you remember something, I'll allow you to stay. But one thing is clear, I'm not your lover. Jungkook stated firmly, a nod quickly acknowledged by Yin. For now, it seemed that the girl chose to play it safe. In truth, Jungkook felt a bit uneasy imagining Yin being stranded if let go. The hospital certainly couldn't accommodate her indefinitely. Even though Yoonwoo might be willing to help, he wouldn't be able to sustain the financial support for an extended period without any guarantees, especially without assurance of when Yin's memory would return. Typically, Jungkook would calmly make tea and breakfast for himself after waking up. However, this morning he was caught off guard by the unexpected turn of events. Given that Yin sleeping on the living room sofa was an utterly surprising sight, her thick blanket enveloped her entire body, resembling a cocoon, dominating the usually empty couch. Taking a deep breath, Jungkook continued his steps toward the kitchen. He decided to whip up a modest breakfast for himself and Yin, considering it a sort of apology for letting her sleep outside. It wasn't entirely Jungkook's fault either. Last night, Yin vehemently refused to sleep in his room. The predicament was that his apartment only had one bedroom. However, for Jungkook, who was accustomed to living alone, the place was more than sufficient. Moreover, it was strategically close to his workplace, quite ideal for his current situation. Should I move, or buy a double bed, or establish a schedule for sleeping inside and outside? Jungkook appeared deep in thought as his hands busily prepared sandwiches. After all, he felt a twinge of guilt for allowing a girl to sleep on the couch while he enjoyed the comfort of his bed. Although, upon further consideration, it was entirely reasonable. Yin was just a temporary guest, and she couldn't expect much. However, Jungkook couldn't shake the feeling of being unkind, even though he was aware of the circumstances. Maybe I'll ask for her opinion later. Now, Jungkook shifted to brewing 2 cups of tea. During the 15 minutes of preparing breakfast, Yin seemed entirely undisturbed. The girl remained sound asleep. Suddenly, Jungkook's phone rang quite loudly. Yin sat up with a surprised expression. Well, it turns out Jungkook's phone was on the table near the girl. Its sound was too loud to be categorized as a phone call notification. Sorry. Jungkook hurriedly grabbed the phone. In his heart, he cursed someone for calling so early in the morning. However, Jungkook's grumbling quickly turned into a chuckle when he realized the sound was from his phone's alarm, not a phone call. Yesterday, he set an alarm as a reminder for the documents he needed to bring today. Good morning. Yin greeted softly as she got up and began folding the blanket. Morning. Want some breakfast? Jungkook offered breakfast a bit awkwardly. Part of him still felt strange having someone else under the same roof. It was something he never imagined. Sure, I'm a bit hungry. Yin smiled broadly before excusing herself to the bathroom to wash her face. Silently, Jungkook let out a deep breath as he walked back to the kitchen. Yin, fortunately, seemed understanding enough not to let them dwell in awkwardness, especially Jungkook, who was confused about how to act toward his new temporary housemate. Should he treat Yin like a formal stranger, or like an old acquaintance with whom they could comfortably be familiar? 5 minutes later, they were sitting across from each other for breakfast. Jungkook, as usual, ate calmly, with little conversation. Out of the blue. You can sleep in the room tonight. I'll be out of town for 2 days. Although, truth be told, Jungkook didn't fully trust Yin. After all, she was a stranger. However, he couldn't take the risk of bringing Yin along, especially if he had to leave her with Yunwoo. He would surely be scolded quite a bit. Just leaving her overnight was already challenging enough. That doctor would undoubtedly have something to say. It was irritating just thinking about it. Jungkook could already vividly imagine Yunwoo's annoying voice in his mind. I'll buy you some clothes later, Jungkook added, seemingly out of the blue, trying to sweeten the deal so that Yin would agree to stay alone and not insist on coming along. Alright, I'll take care of the house and do some cleaning. Yin finally agreed, although a fleeting sadness was visible in her eyes. Perhaps she was reluctant to be left alone. However, what could be done? Jungkook was leaving due to work. No need to bother really. However, do as you wish. Consider it your own home. 2 days later, Jungkook returned home, carrying several pieces of clothing he randomly selected. At least, he considered them comfortable enough. Besides, Yin surely wouldn't object. However, one thing had been on his mind since yesterday. Before leaving, Jungkook forgot to lend Yin some clothes temporarily before he bought her new ones. Well, he wondered about the girl's fate for the past 2 days. It couldn't be that she only wore one outfit, right? Especially hospital clothes. Jungkook shook his head slightly to dispel his worries. Slowly, he entered the flat. What relieved him was that the flat looked tidier and more organized. Jungkook wasn't the type to always keep his place in order. Sometimes his flat got messy even though it wasn't dirty. However, what he witnessed now was a flat that was truly neat and very clean. But there was something a bit strange. Usually, his flat wasn't this bright. Indeed, as Jungkook looked towards the window, the curtains were gone. The drapes that usually covered the glass seemed to have disappeared somewhere. Although he was eager to protest, Jungkook chose to observe the contents of his flat once again. He speculated about what else might have changed from the usual setup. The kitchen, of course, had undergone changes too. It was much tidier than before. The arrangement of plates and glasses was absolutely not chaotic like when Jungkook lived alone. Usually, Jungkook tended to place glasses wherever there was space available, without any particular order. Next, Jungkook inspected the refrigerator. He opened the cooling door with squinted eyes, full of anticipation. As expected, the bottles were neatly arranged according to size. The eggs were also placed in the right spot, no longer in the box that Jungkook usually chose for them. Well, because he usually couldn't be bothered to organize them. Canned food and some fruits were also neatly placed. Silently, he even shook his head. If this was the case, Jungkook felt genuinely touched. "Yin?" He called out loudly while closing the refrigerator. He wouldn't complain about the sudden neatness that hit his flat like magic. Jungkook would simply ask for his curtains back. That was a valuable gift from his grandmother. He couldn't part with that one. "You're back?" Yin shouted back with an incredibly cheerful tone. Her voice echoed from the bathroom. A moment later, Yin appeared with her hair wrapped in a small towel. Her body was clad in one of Jungkook's long shirts that reached above her knees. The girl's face looked extremely radiant, as if she had been eagerly awaiting Jungkook's return. Unexpectedly, Yin immediately took a small run and hugged Jungkook, as if she had missed him tremendously. "Oh, my goodness, you were gone for 2 days, but it felt like forever." Yin looked genuinely relieved while she continued to embrace Jungkook. Meanwhile, Jungkook cleared his throat slightly, not expecting such a welcoming reception. He also felt relieved to see that Yin took the initiative to wear his clothes, so he didn't have to feel guilty for not informing her. "Where's the curtain?" Jungkook asked while trying to gently detach himself from Yin's hug. "I'm washing it. It was quite dusty. It should be dry by now." Yin quickly retrieved the curtain. In no time, she returned, carrying the curtain. Jungkook looked relieved that his grandmother's gift was still there. His grandmother was currently battling an illness, undergoing treatment in Japan. If it weren't for work and the need for funds for her medical expenses, Jungkook might have been by his grandmother's side long ago. Unfortunately, he had to set aside his own feelings. After all, his grandmother could recover if he continued working. "Let me hang it for you." Yin moved towards the window. Meanwhile, Jungkook chose to sit on the sofa, attempting to alleviate his fatigue by removing his jacket and loosening the tie around his neck. The journey had been quite exhausting for Jungkook. In fact, he was now feeling extremely hungry, as he hadn't had lunch earlier. Thinking about food, Jungkook suddenly groaned and looked at Yin in surprise. He had forgotten to prepare food for her. Goodness, how could he be so careless? "What have you been eating for the past 2 days?" he asked cautiously, observing the girl who was approaching him. "Eggs and bread. You have quite a stock." "I'm sorry, I've been a burden. I didn't have anything really." This time, Yin felt guilty for being like a burden staying at Jungkook's place. "It's fine, and there's no need to feel that way. I'm happy to help. Now, how about we order some food? Consider it a thank you gesture for transforming my flat." Jungkook is trying to lighten the mood so Yin won't feel uncomfortable. "No need. I did it all as a thank you for letting me stay. In that case, I'll still order food because I'm hungry." Finally, Jungkook chose to freshen up while waiting for their food to arrive. By 4 p.m., he emerged looking much more presentable. Upon reaching the kitchen, Jungkook noticed Yin starting to tidy up and organize the gift that Jungkook brought earlier. Yes, it was clothing for Yin. Once again, he forgot to mention it. "That's for you." "For me?" Yin asked again to make sure she didn't mishear. "Yes, I bought those for you. Go ahead, open it." Yin started to unwrap the gift and looked amazed at the items she held. There were a total of 15 pieces of clothing, dresses, casual shirts and shorts, several pairs of sleepwear, and a few outfits suitable for travel. And apparently, there were 10 sets of underwear and bras. Yin was holding them, looking at Jungkook, who seemed a bit awkward. "I didn't know your size, so I just asked the store owner, that woman who chose the sizes. But these are my size. The sizes fit me perfectly." Suddenly, Yin approached Jungkook again and hugged him tightly. "Thank you, Jungkook. You're really kind. I feel like you're truly my boyfriend," Yin murmured, with a touched expression, almost on the verge of tears. "Oh, my, I'm not your boyfriend." "Really? But I feel like you are my boyfriend. My heart is beating so fast right now." As evidence, Jungkook instantly squinted upon hearing the beyond reasoning statement. How could buying clothes make someone's heart race? Seriously? It seems like Yin isn't experiencing amnesia, but rather a lack of sanity. "I just bought you some clothes, and you're already getting all worked up like this? But you bought me so much, not just one. You even got me underwear and bras? Who would do that if not my boyfriend?" Okay, let's just eat now." Jungkook diverted the conversation, avoiding any further discussion about relationships. Yin then placed her new stack of clothes aside and joined Jungkook for a meal. For a month now, Yin has been living with Jungkook. Initially, he felt quite unaccustomed to it. He often forgot that he had a housemate. Every time he returned from work, he was always surprised by the warm welcome. Moreover, Yin, shamelessly unaware, would hug him and say, "Thank you, you've worked hard today." Somehow, those words acted like a mantra, making his fatigue disappear. It was truly magical. For a month, they took turns sleeping. Sometimes Jungkook is outside, while Yin is inside. Although most of the time, Yin preferred to stay outside as she didn't want to see Jungkook uncomfortable. Jungkook was tired from work, and Yin didn't want to add to his fatigue by sleeping on the sofa. After all, the size of the sofa was more suitable for the petite Yin than Jungkook. Getting a bit used to it, Jungkook quietly thought about Yin's warm welcome today. It seemed like she would hug him and say her magical words. Unconsciously, Jungkook smiled as he began to open the door. After a few steps inside, he didn't receive the usual greeting. After scanning the area, there was no sign of Yin. "Yin?" Jungkook called out hesitantly as he walked further inside. "Jungkook, is that you? I'm in the bathroom." Yin's slightly loud reply silently made Jungkook sigh in relief. It was quite strange, because Jungkook was starting to get used to Yin's presence. Evidence was, he instinctively sought her out. A few moments later, Yin emerged, looking fresh. It seemed like she had just finished showering. With a wide smile and a radiant face, Yin ran up and hugged him. "Thank you for working hard today." Unconsciously, Jungkook began to smile and return the hug. This time, Jungkook extended the duration of their hug a bit. In fact, Jungkook was seen burying his head in the crook of Yin's neck and staying there, perhaps inhaling the scent of the soap she always used. "Was your day tough?" Yin's worried question was accompanied by her gently stroking Jungkook's hair, his head nestled on her shoulder. Quite tough. Today, his workload was overwhelming, and for some reason, his boss seemed to be in a bad mood. Almost all the employees were scolded by the boss today, including him. "In that case, take a warm shower to relax your body." Jungkook nodded slowly, but still didn't lift his head from Yin's shoulder. They continued to hug. "I like having you here." For some reason, Jungkook wanted to express that. Turns out, having a roommate wasn't so bad. Besides not being alone, there was someone who cared about him. "So, are you admitting me as your lover now?" "It's not like that," he muttered, before finally releasing his hug on Yin. "You can sleep inside tonight." Yin immediately shook her head firmly. "You're tired today. You should sleep inside. I'll stay outside." No more sleeping outside." Jungkook quickly walked away to freshen up, leaving Yin looking confused. It took some time for Yin to process what he had just said. Eventually, Yin closed her wide-open mouth, her brain working a bit slowly, but she was still surprised when she understood. Yin shook her head gently, accompanied by an amused smile. "Isn't it true? I'm his girlfriend. He just doesn't want to admit it." Yin grew more confident, nodding slowly with a smile. 30 minutes later, Jungkook finished his shower. Throughout, he kept cursing his words, the invitation to sleep together. What if Yin misunderstands and sees him in a bad light? Perhaps he should quickly retract his words. It might be better if one of them sleeps outside. What if she misunderstands and sees Jungkook as a bad guy? Maybe he should cancel it immediately. Yes, it seems better if one of them sleeps outside. Just as he opened the bedroom door, Jungkook was surprised to find Yin already comfortably lying on his bed. The girl smiled broadly and teased Jungkook to lie beside her. Uh-oh. Now the guy feels suddenly panicked. He was just about to cancel his invitation, but Yin was already there. If he cancels now, she might think Jungkook is indecisive. Why does everything feel so awkward? Is your body still tired? Do you want a massage? Yin offers as Jungkook starts to lie down, trying to suppress his awkwardness. After all, he was the one who invited her to sleep inside. It's not necessary. I feel much better now. I took a warm bath earlier." Jungkook answers softly, stealing a glance at Yin, who nods understandingly with a faint smile. "Good night," he adds a bit awkwardly before turning away from her. Yin diligently raises the blanket to Jungkook's neck and makes sure he's warm. After that, she also gets under the blanket, covering her body up to her neck. Then, unexpectedly, Yin hugs him tightly from behind, accompanied by a small laugh. Then, her laughter grows as she feels Jungkook slightly jump in place due to the unexpected move. "Ah, your back is so broad, comfortable to hug." Yin whispers with a relieved sigh as if she's been given the chance to hug Jungkook again after a long time. Jungkook can't calm down his racing heartbeat. Besides being surprised earlier, he's now feeling flustered. The closeness that binds them feels dangerously overwhelming. How can Jungkook sleep when he can hear the loud thumping of his own heart in his ears? His mind suddenly feels blank. Go to sleep. It's already late. He whispers softly, trying to release Yin's hands wrapped around his stomach. Can't I sleep hugging my boyfriend? This time, Yin tightens her hug even more, as if refusing to let go of Jungkook's hands to keep hugging him. Finally, Jungkook spontaneously sighs in slight frustration. I'm not your boyfriend. Yes, you are my boyfriend. The proof is, I have many of your photos in my gallery. Oh my. I don't even know where those photos came from. You might actually be stalking me. That means I should be careful around you. Jungkook still trying to free himself from Yin's grip. By the way, haven't you remembered anything at all? Jungkook suddenly turns to look back, trying to meet Yin's gaze. Not yet, sorry. I must be a huge burden to you. No, it's not like that. I was just asking. Who knows? You might remember something. Maybe I can help you. Help with what? Indeed. Help with what? After all, Jungkook already knows the origin of this girl. Yin has no family, no home. Then what's the difference? Whether this girl has amnesia or not. Your acquaintances? Don't you want to meet them? Maybe they're worried and looking for you? Acquaintances? Do they even care about me? Or your workplace? What if you work somewhere? Dr. Yoonwoo said I've been in the hospital for a month. Adding now, that means it's been 2 months. If I've been missing for that long, shouldn't I have been fired? Jungkook curses again while nodding. That's true. Even if she remembers, she'll probably have to find a new job. I'm sorry that I even forgot my own boyfriend. Who's your boyfriend? Me? Jungkook is once again puzzled, but Yin enthusiastically nods in agreement. Oh my, how many times do I have to tell you that I'm not your boyfriend? Proof is, you let me stay here and care about me. You're misunderstanding. Is that so? I also love you. Yin teases Jungkook intentionally before hugging him tightly. Oh my, you're making me frustrated. Jungkook exclaims as if wanting to devour Yin, who is busy laughing. Yes, without realizing that the girl is taking advantage of the situation to hug Jungkook again. Let's pretend that the man is pretending not to notice. The next morning, Yin woke up earlier. When she realized that she was still hugging Jungkook, Yin spontaneously smiled happily. Slowly, Yin rose a bit and propped herself up with her elbow to avoid crushing Jungkook. Jungkook looked so peaceful, like a baby. His face looked truly handsome when observed from a very close distance. I'm very lucky if you're really my boyfriend. Yin approached Jungkook's sleeping face. Her left hand reached up to touch his sharp nose gently. Her touch was almost as light as a feather. Her index finger moved slowly along the contour of Jungkook's nose, then descended to reach his lips. Yin paused for a moment, observing the lips she touched. Suddenly, a mysterious smile appeared on her face. Carefully, she brought her face closer to Jungkook's. For a moment, she glanced upwards, checking if Jungkook's eyes were open or not. When she felt it was safe, without a word, Yin gave a gentle kiss. A moment later, she withdrew and quickly checked Jungkook's eyes again. He was still asleep and completely undisturbed. So, boldly, Yin once again kissed the lips of the man. She gave a series of gentle kisses, slowly, to ensure Jungkook wouldn't wake up. Finally, she took the opportunity to prolong the duration of her kiss. This was met with a reflexive push from Jungkook, strong enough to startle him. What are you doing? Yin didn't immediately respond. She blinked rapidly, still surprised that Jungkook had awakened and caught her in the act. Now, Yin could only glance around, avoiding Jungkook's gaze. Did you attack me while I was sleeping? Jungkook questioned while pushing Yin to the side, creating some distance between them. He lay on his side, facing away from her. What have you done? I didn't do anything except kiss you. Why did you kiss me? As Jungkook seemed to grow angrier, he stared at her with an intense gaze. Can't I kiss my boyfriend? Yin responded while looking at Jungkook with a sad expression, trying to contain her embarrassment and hold back tears. I'm not your boyfriend. I've said it multiple times. But I'm sure you're my boyfriend. You have amnesia. You don't remember anything. The girl fell silent. Her mouth, which had opened, closed again without making a sound. Her gaze, filled with sadness, met Jungkook's wary stare. She seemed crestfallen upon hearing the reality. True, I have amnesia. I don't remember anything. She spoke softly before getting up and leaving the room. Yin left Jungkook, who was surprised by her sudden change in demeanor. She looked hurt, likely from being rejected. Oh, my, I was kissed while sleeping. Jungkook groaned, touching his own lips. One thing on Jungkook's mind right now was that Yin was a fierce girl. It seemed he had to be careful from now on. A few days have passed. Since the morning kissing incident, Yin's attitude has changed completely. She became more reserved and cautious around Jungkook. They no longer slept together. Yin always took the initiative to sleep on the sofa. Even when Jungkook came home from work, there was no longer the usual welcome. Yin was always in the shower when Jungkook returned, avoiding his arrival. Jungkook could sense that Yin was deliberately avoiding him. However, he also understood that Yin might feel uncomfortable. Honestly, if he could be honest, Jungkook felt a bit guilty. After all, Yin had amnesia and didn't remember anything. It was confusing enough for her to navigate life. But still, Yin's change in attitude made Jungkook uncomfortable. It wasn't that Yin was silent about it. She just became more formal, rigid, and Jungkook didn't like that. Until one night, Jungkook tried to approach Yin as he saw her getting ready to sleep on the sofa, just as she had done for several nights now. "Yes, can I help you with something?" In an instant, he saw Yin thinning her lips. Look, Yin even behaved like a customer service representative answering a phone call. She was clearly keeping a considerable distance. Truly, Jungkook was made quite uncomfortable. "Are you okay?" he finally asked, attempting to gauge Yin's reaction. "Yes, of course. Why? Do you have a problem?" Once again, Yin's response was just a polite reply, truly frustrating Jungkook. "Tell me if you have a problem." Again, Jungkook prompted her, hoping she would open up more to him. "There's no problem really. So why are you acting like you're distancing yourself from me?" "What? I'm not distancing myself. I'm just behaving as I should." "Behaving as you should?" "Yes, actually, I feel uneasy around you. I don't want to trouble you further, and I don't want to make you more uncomfortable because of my actions." Jungkook closed his eyes in growing frustration. His heart disliked hearing those words from Yin. Enough is enough. This time, Jungkook couldn't take it anymore. "Fine, you can kiss me whenever you want. Now, you can sleep in the room again." "Huh? What do you mean?" "I don't mind sleeping on the sofa." "I mind. But it's not appropriate. We shouldn't be sleeping together. But we have slept together before. Why are you refusing now?" "Well, at that time, I thought you were my boyfriend, so I was okay with it. So what are you thinking now? You always say I'm not your girlfriend. Now, I'm starting to believe you. Now you can consider me your boyfriend. I won't mind anymore. But you always say I'm not your girlfriend." "Fine. I take back what I said." Jungkook wanted to end this argument as quickly as possible. "You can't erase someone's memories. All this time you've said I'm not your girlfriend." This statement silenced Jungkook. Does it mean they can't go back to how things were before? Does this signify that they will remain strained and distant like this forever? "From the beginning, I've always been a stranger in your life." Yin's words seemed to respond to what was on Jungkook's mind. "Even though I still feel you're a special person in my life," she added, whispering while glancing at her phone. Jungkook also paid attention to the object the girl was looking at. Yes, since the beginning, the presence of the photo of himself has been a puzzle. The photo couldn't be there without a reason. Perhaps he needed to find out. "What do you feel when you're close to me?" he asked as he walked closer to sit beside Yin. "Should I answer honestly?" "Of course. Do you think I want to be lied to in a situation like this?" "You make my heart race. Since long ago, staring at your photo, I've always felt a strong connection with you. The feeling is too intense for just a regular admiration. I think I genuinely have deep feelings for you. Maybe my brain forgets it, but for some reason, you feel familiar. Why are you so sure?" Jungkook began to look at each photo of himself on Yin's phone. Almost all of them were taken secretly and candidly, and Jungkook didn't know when all those photos were taken. "I don't know. My feelings tell me so. Can I hug you? After that, you can decide for yourself." Without a word, Jungkook nodded. The man remained silent as Yin hugged him tightly as if the girl hadn't embraced him for a long time. Although it might have only been a few days since they started the silent treatment, slowly but surely, Jungkook's hands reciprocated Yin's embrace. "Uh-oh, I'm in big trouble," Jungkook whispered with a deep sigh. From the beginning, Jungkook never thought of letting someone into his life. He only wanted to focus on healing his grandmother, the only family he had. Since his parents passed away, his grandmother has lovingly taken care of Jungkook. Currently, the middle-aged woman was struggling to recover. As a grandson, he had to work hard because, regardless, all treatments required money. He wanted to return to living with his grandmother as they used to. They would be able to be together again once his grandmother recovered. However, now someone claiming amnesia has disrupted his stance. Not in a negative sense though, because, in any case, Yin's presence doesn't affect his work ethic. Jungkook just feels that his life is different from before. He, who initially only thought about work and his grandmother, is now compelled to think about his feelings. Yes, the comfort he slowly feels due to someone's presence by his side. The anticipation of a hug after a tiring day of work. Such simple feelings are slowly making him selfish. He hopes all of this lasts forever, disregarding the fact that Yin might regain her memories at any time. Even though Jungkook is unsure if Yin actually has a boyfriend or fiancé because there isn't a single photo of another man on her phone. But what if, when Yin's memories return, she decides to leave? This time, Jungkook is afraid of being complacent and is unwilling to let go if that happens. However, he also can't act like a stranger after they've gotten quite close recently. Okay, no matter how much time we have left together, this time, he just wants to truly enjoy their current togetherness. I hope you can remember everything soon. It would make everything much easier. Jungkook murmured, laden with a request. Suddenly, he lifted Yin in a gentle embrace. What are you doing? Yin screamed hysterically. Besides being surprised, she was also afraid of falling. No one sleeps outside anymore, Jungkook declared before walking towards the bedroom. But you might be uncomfortable. Actually, I feel uncomfortable when you sleep outside. Jungkook, I can sleep outside. It's already night, let's go to sleep, Jungkook said finally, before laying Yin on the bed. He quickly joined and covered them both with a blanket. Can I hug you? Yin's request came suddenly with a restrained smile. You usually never ask for permission. Yin immediately and swiftly hugged Jungkook. In fact, Jungkook found himself shaking his head at Yin's rapid and unexpected movements. It seems Yin is truly happy now that Jungkook is starting to accept her. Good night. Jungkook began to close his eyes while returning her embrace. Unlike before, when Jungkook turned his back and intentionally slept on his back, this time they slept facing each other. Can I have a goodnight kiss too? Yin asked, half teasing, causing Jungkook to widen his eyes. Without hesitation, Yin kissed him. Good night, Yin said cheerfully, after stealing the goodnight kiss she asked for. Meanwhile, Jungkook could only sigh deeply. Is this for real? Jungkook mumbled, feeling disbelief in himself for staying silent and just accepting it. 1 week later, Jungkook invited Yin to fly to Japan to visit his grandmother. Yes, Jungkook's grandmother had undergone surgery 2 weeks ago. This time, Jungkook felt a bit guilty for not being able to accompany his grandmother during the surgery. It was an annoying coincidence because Jungkook wasn't allowed to take leave by his boss. So, now was the time. He had to come to Japan. My grandmother is very talkative. She talks a lot. So, don't be surprised if she asks you a lot of questions, Jungkook warned Yin as they walked along the corridor towards his grandmother's hospital room. Sounds delightful, Yin replied, looking forward to meeting Jungkook's grandmother. Both were warmly welcomed by the cheerful 70-year-old woman. Jungkook's grandmother could already sit leaning against the headboard. The middle-aged woman's face truly looked enthusiastic and happy, until her conversation with Yin suddenly left Jungkook feeling confused. Are you doing well? It seems like you're taking good care of Jungkook, she said, with a grateful smile, while glancing at her grandson. Of course, I make sure he doesn't overwork. That's good. Has Jungkook been naughty lately? A little. Sometimes he forgets to have lunch, although I always remind him in the morning before he leaves not to miss lunch. That naughty kid, she accused her grandson with a sharp look. Am I wrong to feel that something is odd here? Jungkook expressed his thoughts. Grandma, say that I'm his girlfriend. Now please, you promised. Yin pretended to whisper, although her tone sounded normal enough for anyone to hear. You forgot the rules, dear. If Jungkook truly has feelings for you, you can become his girlfriend, she replied with a faint chuckle. Grandma is not fun. What are you really talking about? Does Grandma know Yin? Grandma laughed heartily until the corners of her eyes teared up. Yin also joined in, giggling, which made Jungkook pout. He asked for an explanation, not to be laughed at. Yin has been my nurse all this time. I often talked about you to her, and she ended up falling in love with you. I gave her the photos Yoonwoo took secretly. I sent them to you to keep an eye on your life. I know you always work hard, even to the point of neglecting your health. I just don't want you to collapse or get sick. Therefore, as long as I'm being treated here, I asked Yin to watch over you. Grandma clearly revealed everything. So, not amnesia? Jungkook whispered, looking at the bewildered girl. For that one, we did lie. Jungkook's grandmother admitted to the lie they orchestrated for Yin. You, Jungkook whispered, not knowing how to respond. But Yin's background is not a lie. She is indeed an orphan with no family at all. I hope to make her a granddaughter. If you're willing to make it happen, it seems perfect, Grandma said with a hopeful expression. Yes, she hoped Yin could become her granddaughter by marrying Jungkook. Why did you have to lie? You could have just told me, Jungkook whispered with a tone full of disappointment. I challenged her to make you fall in love with her without you knowing that she is my nurse here. So, I wanted to know if you could fall in love with her from the depths of your own heart. Can I admit something? Yin suddenly spoke, shifting the attention of the grandmother and grandson to her. Actually, I didn't completely lie. I did have a real accident when I arrived in Korea. In fact, I experienced amnesia for almost a month. That's when I was treated at the hospital, thankfully with Yoonwoo's help. This time, Jungkook and his grandmother were truly surprised. This was beyond the grandmother's scenario. Yes, there was a chain of accidents when I was about to meet Yoonwoo. Even Yoonwoo was in a panic when he found out about my condition and worried that our plan might fail. That's why I had to be in the hospital and postpone our meeting with Jungkook. It seems like karma hit me for planning to deceive Jungkook, but I didn't expect that karma would come even sooner for me. Jungkook let out a small cough, not getting angry. Somehow, the disappointment and heartache he felt earlier for being lied to disappeared. In reality, Yin had already received karma earlier. But honestly, if he could, Jungkook really wanted to laugh now. Go ahead, laugh. I won't stop you. Jungkook smiled amusingly. He couldn't really laugh. However, considering the events Yin went through, it could be called a disaster. Even now, his grandmother looked at the girl with a sad expression, feeling guilty. Yes, no matter what, it was all part of their plan. But ironically, it was Yin who received instant karma. Come here, you're not that unfortunate, Jungkook said suddenly, while pulling Yin into his arms. It's okay, you sacrificed for me. Your goal is achieved, Jungkook added, comforting Yin with a beaming smile on his lips. My goal is achieved. My main goal is to make you my boyfriend. It's achieved now. Really? Are we a couple now? The girl shouted with pure joy. She became even happier when she saw Jungkook nod slightly. Grandma, he's my real boyfriend. Oh my, Grandma, we have to get married soon. It all depends on Jungkook, Yin. He's the one who will marry you, not me. Okay, I'll marry you, but only after my grandmother fully recovers. Yin just nodded slightly in Jungkook's embrace. At this moment, Yin hugged Jungkook even tighter. Once again, Jungkook just chuckled, watching Yin freely express her feelings.
Take me back to a place where I felt at home. Take me back to a day when we weren't alone. Take me back to an age when the world felt small. Way back before we blew